Really are. And we have another special guest here. Guys, here's Eros. All right, I gotta start with Tyler and Michael here. A movie like this is not taken on lightly, you know? This is not Making Before Sunrise where you just walk around and figure it out. So how did you find out about this movement? How did you get involved in this, and how long has this journey been?
It's been about 7 years, and it started with Tyler and I traveling to Cuba and making friends with Cuban artists that told us this story. And they said, you guys are filmmakers, can you help us make a movie about this? And the first response was, no way. This would be a killer movie, but it'd be too hard. Too hard to figure out how to do it, too hard to figure out how to get Cuban actors because it feels silly to do it any other way. Too hard to get money. And so we just sort of walked away from it for a couple years. And then we went and saw Roma in theaters. And we thought, holy shit, they're giving people money to make movies like this. And so we started writing it and just feeling it out, and we just walk and talk about story and then sort of write in sequence. And we're like, if nothing else, this will be a fun writing exercise, writing sample. And then if we were gonna actually do it, we're like, you have to have exactly the right team. So we're like, Phil Lord is a Cuban American, and Lord Miller do things that fit with our sensibilities with the Spider-Verse movies and the Lego movies. So we took it to them, and we had decided if they said no, we wouldn't make it.
And at that point, you have the full script. You're a couple of years into this process?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And they said yes, but you have to hire.
And you said, oh shit, now we have to do it.
Shit, now we have to do it.
Yeah.
But they said, now you gotta hire all of Phil's cousins.
Yeah.
So we got like 40 Cubans like all at once.
Well, that's mutually beneficial. Everybody, that works really, really well.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the casting process for this, because it's a very specific movie. You want to get this right. Let's talk about the roles you decided to start with, and bring me to the moment when Eros got involved.
Yeah, I mean, we couldn't go to. It was during COVID, and I don't know if people are aware of the relations with Cuba, but it's not really easy to go to Cuba and just cast a movie. So we had Carla Hool. She helped us out a bit. Bless you. And we were like had somebody on the street pulling kids off the street that like doing street casting, and for cool looking kids, and it ended up like. Legitimately, it would be like, that's a cool looking kid with a tattoo on his stomach. Maybe that guy will work. And we just pulled punk rock looking kids off the street and cast them on WhatsApp. Like, it was just through WhatsApp, everything.
And even the internet is different in Cuba, where like we'd be talking to people for 45 seconds. They said we're running out of megabytes, because they just sort of have to pay by megabyte. But there was also a business element of it where we had to bring the financiers a movie star. So we started with Audrey Arjona, who plays Maria, and she was like, okay, I'm in for the cause. I'm producing this movie. If I'm enough, now let's figure out how to make the rest of them Cuban. So everyone else besides Maria that speaks in the movie is Cuban.
That's incredible. So it's so important that she was willing to be first in and pave the way. Eros, do you want to talk about the moment you got involved? Your feeling about these guys, this project? It's not for the faint of heart.
In my case, I got involved. I got casted I first heard about the audition because a friend of mine had heard about it in a group chat in WhatsApp, and he was like, "Hey, I'm doing this. Do you want to do it?" And I just wasn't feeling it. I was very lazy that day, and I was like, okay. But then I started recording his audition, and I started to memorize the lines, and I'm like, okay, I'm here, so I might as well just give it a shot. And I did it. I first auditioned for Nestor, the blonde guy.
Yeah.
Nothing really happened there, but he put me in the map, and the lady was like, hey, you can send another tape for a different character. And then I went back and I auditioned for Sergio, my 12-year-old cousin.
He did a great 12-year-old too. He was an old-looking 12-year-old, but he played it well.
And then after that, like 2 days after that, they were like, "Hey, we want to see you in the lead. We want to see you in the lead of the movie." And I started to freak out. I didn't tell nobody about it. My mom didn't know, nothing. I just went there. I did my audition. I knew that if I fucked this up, that's it.
Yeah.
And I did it. I thought that I had fucked it all up. So I went home, didn't tell my mom that I did nothing. And about 5 days later, I received a call. The lady was like, "Hey, you got the role." And right before I was about to start crying, I was like, "Wait, but I auditioned for 3 roles. Which one?" And she was like, "You got the lead." So yeah.
Wow. And so your acting experience before doing this was?
Small theater plays,
Yeah.
and the acting's cool. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eros, this is a true story about Eros. We finished the movie and we took it to Miami, and we were going to show a lot of the Cuban kids in the movie now live in Miami, and so we were going to go show it to them. And we were walking into the movie theater, and Eros was like really excited, and he said, "I've never seen a movie in a movie theater." And I was like, "What?" And he was like, "Yeah, I've never seen a movie in a movie theater. We don't really do that in Cuba." And the first movie Eros has ever seen in a movie theater is a movie that he stars in. It's not like a B character, it's like full on him starring in the movie. I'm not sure if that's ever happened in the history of the cinematic arts, but it's pretty cool that he got to watch this as his first movie in a movie theater. I'm really proud of him.
Well, you're incredible in the film. It's incredible. Let's talk about the journey bringing this film into the world, because I think we're in LA here, we got some film savvy people, and you guys had tremendous success with Peanut Butter Falcon, and it was, what a wild ride, and this movie has played at a lot of film festivals, and it pretty much wins an award every time it plays. But as I've experienced, as everyone has experienced, it was a struggle trying to find the right way to bring this to audiences in the journey. And I watch a film like this; it's so unique, and I can understand some of the challenges in that. It's a Spanish language film. But can you just talk a little bit about that thing that you spent 7 years with, and now you're finally here at the moment where people are about to see it, and that long journey with a piece of art?
Yeah, I think we all look up to like people like you and what you did with
You really shouldn't. You really shouldn't.
Production. And it's interesting, like when I was learning, it was like, okay, you could make an independent movie and it could do well at a festival, and then there were so many companies that could buy it.
That was the path, right? There was the stories we would read, right?
Yeah. And it was so exciting. You're like, oh, okay, there's 5 movies that got acquired out of this festival and 10 movies out of this one. And it's a little bit different now. Like the companies, the really cool companies, are now studios, and they're creating their own movies. And the A24s and the Neons and the Searchlights and the Focuses and the Netflix and the Amazons and all the companies that were acquiring even 5 years ago, they're studios. They're making their own movies. So the acquisition, or the landscape is dying very, very quickly.
Yeah, festivals are for premieres. Like, it's basically what it's become. Like, you go to a festival to premiere your thing, but you're with Netflix.
Yeah, and it's like you premiere it maybe 2 months before you're coming out as sort of a press hit. So I think we're seeing something and our first movie also did not sell, and we independently released Peanut Butter Falcon. We had success, so we're like
You had tremendous success. The movies that sold that year, none of them did anything. You figured out a way to release Peanut Butter Falcon, and it made $20 million in the theaters, and it warmed everyone's hearts. And you're about to do that again with this movie. And it really is revolutionary. And if I may say and project, you're kind of like the Frikis of independent film right now. You're kind of disrupting stuff, and it's pretty cool.
That's an honor from your mouth. To
I'm
God's.
fucking tired. I'm so tired.
You're like, somebody just buy my movie and do it.
Legit, just make it easy, please.
Yeah. But that's an incredible story. I mean, the Herculean effort that you guys have brought here, and I think just for those of you who are independent filmmakers or aspiring independent filmmakers in the audience and taking your movies out in the world, it's really good to remember and watch this example of, there are incredible pieces of art out there, and they're not always following the traditional path, and this is one that came out in this beautifully circuitous route, and I caught it through my wife and my daughter who had seen it in Nantucket, and they came home to me and they said, wait until you see this movie. It's going to knock you out. And we're starting to watch it do that. And now you're all a part of this story, and hopefully you leave this theater and you get to tell everybody about the experience you had tonight. And if it was a bad experience, you just shut your mouths and you don't say anything. But if it was a good experience, you will carry that with you and carry that
Or
with you
if it was a bad experience, lie.
Yeah, you can also do that.
You just fucking lie.
Okay, so Eros, you've done this movie now. What are your hopes and goals coming out of this? Did you feel like this was just a singular, wonderful experience, or I want to do something like this again?
Oh my God, I want to do these for the rest of my life.
You love it.
I just love it.
Yeah. Do you know that not all directors are probably going to be as wonderful as these guys?
I don't know, because these guys were my first ones.
Okay.
But I've been told that.
Yeah, so we'll
I've been
find
told
out.
that.
Yeah, I wanna talk to you guys a little bit about directing a lot of what they would call first-time actors or non-professional actors or street performers, whatever you want to call it, and how you got such great combination of naturalism, but also dramatic arc. As a director, I look at stuff like this and I'm like, it's okay. And I want to say easy, but it's something to get naturalistic performances out of people to make them feel comfortable, but also then to make them turn and do the incredible dramatic arcing you did at the same time. It's very difficult. So talk to me a little about directing, Eros and all the other actors in the cast.
I mean, I think we think about the story for a long time. That's part of, I was just at a festival in Europe, and I was talking to a French filmmaker, and they said the benefit of making a movie in the States is it's so hard. You have to think about the story for a long time. She said in France, we just get $500,000, we go make a movie. You think about it for 2 months and we go shoot it. So I think because it took us 5 years to get the money, we thought about the story for a long time. And we thought about the arc, and we thought about, I think our producers, Lord and Miller, had similar sensibilities with tone, but they really pushed us on. They said, if you deliver something the audience is expecting, they'll think it's okay. That the best they can think is that it's okay. If you deliver something that they don't know they want, but they want it more than what they think they want, then you can really make some impact. Yeah. And then, so we prep and we prep and we prep the script, and then we get to set. The actors, we talk a lot about the arcs and the characters more than the lines, and then we let everybody go free. And if they know their character and they know the story that well, they can improvise and play the jazz because they know the scales. Yeah. So we're really experimental on set.
We're not word perfect at all. Like, we let people kind of do within reason most any idea they have, because it usually ends up being something that's really special and cool.
And even percentage-wise, if we're only editing 3% of the footage into the movie, if it's great, it's in the movie. If it's not great, it's not in the movie.
Yeah. And do you want to talk about directing a movie in your second language, which can be tricky?
It was a lot of work.
Tyler's tired, you guys.
Yeah. Well, it's just, has anyone ever learned a second language to direct a movie? It's tough, right?
Especially when you're older. I'll say this, it took me, I read all the things. You can be conversational in 300 hours. I'm 600 hours in, I can't pronounce Madrid. My tongue doesn't work right. And it took 2,000 hours to get conversational. And then none of the actors, I will say this about Eros. Eros didn't speak a word of English when we shot the movie.
Wow.
So Eros, we finished and he's like, what do you want me to do? And we're like, learn English so you can do press. So this is...
Yes, well done, I love it.
And these two guys committed themselves to speaking in Spanish, which helped a lot.
They made fun of us for our accents.
Yeah,
because we learned from computers and teachers from everywhere. I had a tutor from Venezuela.
Yeah, so you had a Frankenstein accent from all over the place.
Weirdest accent. They're like, where the fuck are you from?
Yeah.
And then by the end, they were like, at least you sound Mexican now.
Yeah.
That's cool. But whatever was happening before was bad.
When he started, he was like a Duolingo accent or something. But
I'm
he's gotten
from
way
the
better.
internet, is where I'm from. I would like to, I'm sure there's someone here who has a burning question. I'd like to just take a quick moment if we have it. This man, yes, here we go, we have some passion.
Hi, I absolutely love the film.
His question was, I love the film. Thank you for your question. Next question, anyone?
But
Yeah.
I really love the score by Stephen Price. I'd love to know what the process was like collaborating with him.
Question about the score from Stephen Price.
Yeah, so Stephen Price, if you guys don't know, won the Oscar for the score of Gravity. And the conversations around this one was always that the movie is sad enough. It's can you bring like lightness with the score, and he got it. Like he got it immediately. We had been down the path with another composer who was awesome, but he's like, I'm making your movie more emotional by making it sadder, and we kept trying to note that, and it was just a philosophical difference. The music was beautiful, but it was a really sad, like a really sad movie.
They call that a hat on a hat.
Yeah.
And those are two tough hats,
Yeah.
actually, yeah.
And so we got to Steven, he watched the movie, and he knew that our path was not successful with the first one. He goes, can you just send me the movie and let me try some things to see if you want me to do it? 2 days later, he'd scored half the movie, and he was like, do you like it? And I said, yeah, keep going.
That's incredible, yeah. I mean, and it's very much part and parcel with the punk rock tone and vibe of the movie. You know, you just put the guy on the guitar and let him go, and it works, yeah.
And we didn't want, we wanted hints of what you would expect from a Spanish language film. Like there is some nylon string guitar,
Mhm.
but we also wanted some electric guitar and drums. And he really like just uncovered this palette that was new. You know, like I love nylon string guitar and Gustavo
Mhm.
Santavala and like all the music that you expect to see. And for this one, for being music based, again, I talk a lot about Phil and Chris because they were really impactful in the movie.
Yeah.
But even the needle drops, you know, like some of the montages, we had Buena Vista Social Club, which is like famously Cuban, which is great music. And Phil goes, that's not unexpected.
Yeah,
He
That's
said it was
what
tourist music. He said, that's tourist music.
tourist music.
You could do better.
And so we talked to a bunch of the Frikis and these guys, and they said, you know, we were like, what do you listen to? And they're like, reggae. So in some ways, English language reggae was more authentic to this subculture than Cuban street music.
Yeah, and you don't know that without asking questions and listening, which is a big part of making movies, yeah. Okay, I think we probably have time for, oh God, now there's so many. I don't know what to do, everyone's waving hands. Okay, go ahead, man.
So what are some of the challenges you face with filming nowadays and bringing it back to the 1991 era? Is it you find a lot of similarities?
Questions about, you know, filming the period element of this, setting up for the 90s and some of those challenges.
It's interesting. Like it was just
I mean, it was we shot in the Dominican Republic, and there was actually enough vehicles and architecture there that it actually wasn't as challenging as it might have seemed.
there
It's-
hasn't been as much development in Dominican Republic and Cuba over that time period, so it was not as difficult as doing it in the United States.
No, yeah.
But we were like very tuned to detail in things like the musical instruments. Couldn't have come from the United States because the embargoes has a Japanese guitar and a Russian bass from the 80s that could have gotten to Havana in the 90s. Like super detailed, the art department did a great job. And then all the Cubans, if anything was wrong, they were like, it's not those cigarettes.
That's
Just
great.
changing
That's
stuff.
great.
I'll also say the machine, like that pulls out the blood and heats it up. That with they were like, well, we'll make one of those, and it was actually easier just to buy one on eBay. Yeah, you could just go buy them on eBay for like $100. Yeah.
And I am going to have to steal one more question. Eros, I want to talk about you and your relationship with the horse.
That dude was an asshole. He was the worst. I hated that horse. And the scene in the river, that was the worst day in my life because the horse stepped on my foot. So it was a rock, the horse, and my foot in the middle. And I know 100% he did it intentionally. Like, I just have no doubt.
You know,
about it.
I'm gonna say you did a lot of great things as a first time, screen performer, but that's when you really became an actor. Because I have had co-stars with whom I'm supposed to be in love and having a beautiful moment on screen, and you fucking hate them, and you gotta convince everybody. You did it. I thought you loved that voice, so you sold me on that. Really, really, really well done. Yes, let's do one more question here.
What was the decision not to have subtitles on the Spanish song while they're celebrating at the wedding, which I thought was beautiful, and where that actor was singing a couple of verses.
Question to pull the subtitles from the Spanish song that they sing at the wedding.
Yeah,
We
we.
had subtitles with the language, but not with the song. And I think it's a famous Cuban song.
Yeah, it's Lágrimas Negras. It's a very traditional, famous.
You see him showing off his accent there? He's trying to do the elisions and everything. He's like, real, yeah.
Yeah, we had subtitles in there. We tried all kinds of versions. The subtitles process was 3 months, and there was even things like when you could feel something, we didn't want to task the audience with reading it. We wanted to allow them to look at the performers. So there was if people said somebody's name, we often didn't subtitle it. And that song we just felt was so much more powerful to take in the music and the performance than read what they were saying, the specifics.
Beautiful. All right, I just want to take a minute to conscript you guys into the Los Frikis army. What can you tell us about the release plan for this movie, how people can see it, and how these people can help you get it around to their
First
eyeballs?
of all, you guys being here is a huge help. I don't know if you noticed,
Yes.
but like when you pre-sell tickets, it shows up on opening day. So this is already going to show up in opening weekend box
You already
office.
did a lot. Yeah.
The movie's opening in Los Angeles and New York only, and then it's expanding to 5 cities on Christmas Day. So Los Angeles is super, super duper important to us. If you can tell your friends, if you can post on social media, and we get to a place where we could be in 300 theaters if it does well in New York and Los Angeles. So if you have anybody that might consider seeing it, even like the first weekend, it's important to come out the first weekend.
That first weekend is critical.
The first weekend is critical, and post on social media, rate it on Letterboxd, IMDb, all these things matter.
Yeah, please, like it really would mean a lot to us. Like the same thing with Peanut Butter Falcon. We didn't really have a lot of money, and we really just did these, and that was a word of mouth film. And this is the same thing. So please talk about it if you liked it.
Wear the T-shirts.
Yeah, wear
This
the-
is like
yeah.
a secret hack. It's a cool T-shirt, but if people see you wearing it, they might come see the movie or ask you about it.
These are good things.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Thank you guys for coming to this movie. Applause for our filmmakers. For Eros. We'll see you December 20th and beyond.